Now, as we'll be seeing on Mad and Maxx, if there's a type of vehicle, somewhere there's going to be an enthusiast who comes up with a way of racing in it. And that's not just true of the land or of the water, it's also true of the sky. And today we've come to meet the Microlight men. You don't exactly race microlights, but compete between 3 and 6 different tasks over the competition for which points are awarded.
Each round is designed to have roughly about 3 tasks of scoring about 1,000 points each.
The first task is called soaring. The idea here is that competitors stay in the air for as long as possible, running on a set and carefully measured amount of fuel. The second task is all about precision landing. Competitors cut their engines at 1,000 feet and have to land the aircraft in what's called a 100-metre deck. I'm here with Microlight pilot Terry Thomas. Hi Terry. Can you tell us how you got involved in microlights?
I've been paragliding for about 6 years. Very small weather windows on paragliding, which means that you're very limited on conditions for flying. So last summer, a friend of mine introduced me to microlighting. He asked me to come up on the back of his trike, which we call these, and I went for it.
And how much does a wonderful little aircraft like this actually cost to buy?
You can buy a second-hand aircraft, a good one like this little Pegasus Q, for between £5,000 to £6,000. And when there's a few of you in the syndicate, obviously you just paying a proportion of the share.
These machines look a little bit Heath Robinson. How safe actually are they?
They're small, they're light, they're very strong. They've got a good testing procedure. They've got good backup systems to make sure. It's mainly up to the pilot to make sure he looks after his aircraft, to make sure he does all his checks. The aircraft itself, it's very rare there is a failure through the normal aircraft itself. It's generally through pilot's abuse or misunderstanding.
So can you show us through your craft from front to back?
Right, well, as you can see, it's a fairly simple design. It's called a weight shift microlight, which is basically because when we're in the flying mode and we have our hands on the bar, we obviously move the wing, which in turn is pivoting the main mass of weight underneath to keep it all level in flight. On the engine, we've got a Rotax engine, which are very reliable engines. This one's just under 500cc, high power unit. I believe it's got a horsepower somewhere around about 45 horsepower. So as you can understand, we've got a lot of power there. You've got your wing, which is basically like a hang glider wing. That has poles running through it for stability. And we check all this through every time we fly it to make sure that everything's looking good and there's no cracks, no joints loose, anything missing, anything's been damaged. This is where we have to be particularly careful to make sure that that side of it is in good order.
And I suppose that bolt there is the most important bolt.
The main aircraft. That is the most important, the hang bolt, where everything pivots from. That we check every time we fly it. It's very important that's in good condition. It's not loose, it's not got play in it. Safe side. But that's right, that is one of the most important features.
Well, judging by all this noise, everyone's getting ready to go out, so we'll let you get yourself
okay.
together.
Yeah, that's it.
And we'll come and have a chat with you later on. It's not exactly a spectator sport, and it's not exactly exciting for anybody who's not actually up there taking part. But if a motorsport's about pushing yourself and your machine to the ultimate, then surely this has got to be one of the most valid forms of motorsport, if you like, that we've looked at. Right, Terry, we saw you take off earlier and now you're back on terra firma. Well, what was it like?
You could say we're pleased to be back there now. It's disappointing, but as you can see from the clouds around, it's an extremely rough day to be flying. We got part way around the circuit. We were finding it extremely difficult to navigate. The little trike was being thrown around all over the place. Julie was finding it difficult to try and pick up any of the pictures below, so we decided on the safety and abandoned it.
Now Julie, it must be worse for you because you're sitting behind him, but you've also got no means of controlling anything.
Well, it is a bit scary, especially when the wing goes right over and your partner's hanging out the side and you're just looking straight ahead and you're thinking, oh dear. Like,
yeah, so I'd imagine it's a long way down suddenly.
Yeah, it was very choppy up there, it was very bumpy. And you haven't, as a passenger, you haven't really got anything to hold on apart from the person that's in front of you if it gets too rough.
By the throat, I would imagine. Best,
by the neck.
Down.
She was throttling me to say, go home, I've had enough.
It's been great to meet you, I've really enjoyed it, thanks very much. Now, as you hopefully gather from this piece, Terry is a genuinely nice bloke, and he also loves and is very passionate about his sport. He's also so enthusiastic, he almost got me into the back seat and up in the air in it. Almost, but not quite, because I think he's raving mad.